Rated Gen Z, where real talks get real. Each episode dives deep into the minds of 18 to 24-year-olds, exploring their dreams, struggles, and perspectives that most people never hear. We're diving into the chaos that defines a generation everyone talks about, but nobody actually listens to. This isn't just a podcast. This is a generation speaking. Welcome back to the Rated Gen Z podcast, Joshua. You're my first return guest.
I know. I was like, hey, the people love me. So thanks for having me back. I appreciate it. And I am very excited to get some conversations as well as some updates going.
Yes. So you were episode 3, I believe, right?
Was.
Okay. And
It
now this
was.
is going to be episode 28.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's insane. Oh my goodness.
I must be doing something okay.
No, yeah. And I'm just like, oh my God, like 25 episodes later. I was supposed to say 25 years later, but like 25 episodes later. That's awesome. So thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Thanks for coming back on. I know that last time we spoke, you got to, tell us about who you were because I really didn't know much about you. And now that
Yeah.
we're 6 months later, I'm like excited because at the time I was just putting myself in like with this idea of a documentary, and now it's coming to fruition in 3 weeks, and you are going to be a part of the documentary, which is so exciting. So
Yes, absolutely.
let's refresh people's memory if they, like listen to you and need a refresh, or for those that are newer to the podcast.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm Joshua. I am a marketing student here at LSU in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. I am going to be a rising junior in the fall, and I just love being here. So thank you so much for having me. And yes, if you heard Raquel, I am going to be part of the Rated Gen Z. Sorry, I hear you Gen Z documentary. Bro, I'm literally on the podcast, and I'm like, yeah, I was on this podcast on episode 3. But yes, I'm going to be part of the I Hear You Gen Z documentary, and I am super excited for it. So you will finally get to learn all about how I went from a small town to be here at LSU. So I am pretty excited for that. So be on the lookout because it's going to be pretty fun.
I am really excited, but I cannot lie. I am so anxious and nervous. And this is something that I want to talk to you about because I think for me, the anxiety is coming from the fact that there is so much going on right now in the world. And there's just it's one of those times in our lives that is so important. And it's really going to be very defining in history in so many ways. And your generation is part of that definition of defining history, right? So I want to make sure that I'm doing all of you justice in the sense of being able to have you portrayed in a way that is positive, of course, and it's uplifting and there's hope, but at the same time, there is a lot of uncertainty. The reality is you guys really have it way more difficult than so many of us did because of social media. I mean, the recession, wars, you name it, COVID. You guys have really had to deal with a lot. I don't think people really understand the gravity of that. And so I feel like I have a responsibility to really do something impactful here. So for you, not knowing what this experience is going to be like yet, because I don't know either, what are you hoping for this film to really do for your generation?
Yeah, absolutely. I think art is a form of expression. And I think that doing this is a form of art because you're expressing creativity as well as getting to showcase authentic youth voices. I think my biggest takeaway with this documentary and with this project for people to really watch and really gravitate towards is understanding that everybody plays a critical role. So whether that is being a leader in your community or whether that is like volunteering or being able to, help out with issues that are surrounding in your area, I think that everybody has a critical role to play. So I just think that I think it's just all about finding your strengths and building upon those strengths. And even I said this like previously in the last episode that I did with you, I said that hard challenges are meant for greater comebacks in life. So even though there are many setbacks that are happening in the current world, just know that problem solving and having that critical thinking is so key And I think that this documentary is going to really show that, Kate. Really going to show that.
I love that you said that because that was something that I was trying to also make sure that I do is problem solving. Because we can sit here and talk all day about like the problems and everything that's going on negatively, but okay, how can we solve these problems? So I am hoping that all of you can also give insight as to how we can hopefully solve a lot of these issues and these problems that are happening because you are our future, you're our leaders, and it's a lot of pressure too. Like, do you feel pressure that you need to do something to change the world?
Um,
Because you are that, like, you have that personality, Joshua. Like, you are Mr. LSU. You do so much for the community, and just everything that you do with the school and just who you are. And, we did touch upon this on the last episode with you,
yeah.
but I mean, there has to be a level of pressure there that is probably difficult.
Yeah, I mean, there's pressure in it, but it's also what I love to do because I wouldn't be doing this work if I didn't have a why to it. I mean, I think that everybody brings something valuable to the table. And every day when I step foot on a campus or even just, getting to, work around like the Baton Rouge area, like I just get to, showcase my authentic self and just always continue to show up when it's important. And I think that during this critical moments in our lives, especially being like first starting out in my 20s, I just want to make sure that my 20s are a stepping stone into like my 30s and my 40s and something that I can fall back under to where I could be like, yeah, I did this and I want to be able to train the next generation of leaders to be able to, make a voice, make an impact, but also lead with a purpose, not only for themselves, but also for their community and being recognized for it. And also getting to celebrate their work. Because oftentimes you don't really give yourself that much credit. And I think that every day you should continue to celebrate who you are and express your creativity and your artistry. And so that can look in a variety of ways. You just got to tap into it and just really get to build upon that from there.
That's really well said. Thank you.
Of
and
course, no
and
problem.
I mean, and being that you are an orientation leader, right?
Yes, we wrapped up week 4 yesterday, and I celebrated my 1 year anniversary of attending transfer student orientation last year. So that was my first time stepping onto LSU's campus like fully. So it was pretty fun. This job has been so rewarding. I kid you not, I literally have freshmen literally be like, "Hey, can we get a picture? Like you're the best orientation leader." And I'm like, "Sure, why not?" So it's always a reward getting to talk to these like incoming students and families and getting to share about, like my experience as a transfer student and how I was able to navigate within that first year, but also giving them that sense of hope and ensuring that you're not alone in this transition. There are many people that who are going to support you along the way, and just realizing that it's a new chapter in your life. Yes, it's going to be nervous and anxious, but I want people to come to LSU in August feeling very excited and just really just hit the ground running. Like that's what I did last year. So I just get to really be grateful to share my story and getting to be able to, help this like incoming class feel like LSU is their home away from home.
Every college campus needs a Joshua Jones to be
I
cheerleading
know.
for their kid
I
for their school.
know.
Seriously, I mean, you're one of the few students that I know that is so passionate. I mean, obviously, people love their schools, but I mean, you like take it to another level. You know what I mean?
Oh
Like,
yeah, for
I think
sure.
that's fantastic. So let me ask you this with the incoming freshmen, because you've been doing it for 4 weeks now. So I feel like you've gone through enough students, incoming students. Like, do you see
Yeah.
a theme with them, or is there any like question that seems to be pretty common that is being asked?
Yeah, I think the biggest question is just how to get involved. And so basically, like I share them about like how I got involved. I had 2 on-campus jobs before I even stepped foot on a campus. So basically, like I just email different departments and offices around campus and was just basically like, hey guys, like Joshua Jones, transfer student from community college, and I'm interested in getting a on-campus job. Is there any way that you guys have times to do an interview? So they set up an interview like before I even stepped foot on a campus, and it was just really great. So I think it's just all about finding your place. and also getting to be able to see what works for you because ultimately, like that's what it's about. College is about finding what works for you and just building upon from that. And I also do just want to encourage, like those incoming freshmen and the incoming transfer students to realize that, well, yes, like this is a very big campus. There's so much opportunities there that you just got to tap into it and just getting to be able to build those connections and building that network.
Well, I think it's very telling. That is like one of the top questions is how they can get involved. So that is a good sign. That's a good thing to show that these students want to come in and have the full college experience and want to do and whatever they can to get involved. And you obviously are the perfect person to explain that to them. I love how proactive you are. Have you always been this proactive, or has it been kind of something that you've had to, it's like a skill you had to develop over time?
Yeah, it's definitely both. Being proactive is very important because you have to remain that consistency and you just have to show up when it's necessary. I mean, literally, like Tuesday, I was so tired that I still had to, remind myself that like I get to do this and I still have to show up because I want people to leave orientation at the end of the day and just feeling like very excited and very pumped about coming to LSU in August and just hitting the ground running. And then also it's that skill set where you just have to do it because eventually once I, graduate from LSU in May of 27, that is when, a lot of jobs are going to be offered to me. And so you need to be able to share my proactive skills and how I was able to build that through my campus involvement would really just make me stand out as an applicant. So, it's a bit of both. So as long as you are, putting in the work as well as, showing up your most authentic self, it's going to really pay off in the long run.
Yeah. So, are you open to talking about your internship, your marketing internship that you're doing?
Yes, I sure am.
Speaking of
So
jobs and careers, like I would love to hear that's how that's going for you.
I was actually trying to transition into that.
See,
Yes.
I'm such a good host.
I know, exactly. You are such a good host. I love that for you. Yes, so outside of orientation, I actually do have a marketing and communications internship lined up, and I work with Kids Orchestra. So basically, I do all of their photography for their events, as well as getting to do all of their social media. And I kid you not, it is one of the most fun jobs. And this is a funny story. I actually reached out to the development director through email, got an interview set up, then the next day got the internship. And so that's why I say like it's always good to put yourself out there because you never know where an opportunity could lead you to. And I am just like super grateful throughout this experience. Like I got to meet all of the staff and everybody that who works within Kids Orchestra that who are just really fun and they're like the best people that I've gotten to work with so far. And I just wanted to be able to be proactive throughout the summer and just being to, work on my resume and being able to share my experience through LinkedIn as well as my other social media platforms. So it is a full circle moment for me that I'm just really happy that I get to be super busy, but also getting to make an impact while I still do it.
Yeah. So how did you get involved with Kids Orchestra? Because I had never heard of them until, you obviously mentioned your internship. So I would love to hear how you found out about them and what exactly do they do? Because they do sound pretty fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually found them through their website. So once I did the interview with the development director, I basically, after the interview was over, basically like looked them up because I didn't do any prior knowledge coming into the interview because I always want to hear like firsthand experience. And also I didn't want to be a creep. So I just wanted to hear from, yeah, I just wanted to
But
hear from
how did you
firsthand.
even hear about them in the first place? Because this would be a good way for like people like your age, but listening, like how did you even, because obviously you had a call with the development manager, but how did you even get
Yeah,
a call with him in the first place? Like, I want to
yeah.
know like literally how it started.
Yeah, okay. So, backstory. So basically, my school and I'm in the College of Business, Finally, by the way, I meant to say this. I did pass business calc because I know I mentioned that I failed last episode. I finally passed it this spring,
Woo!
so yippee.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So I'm finally in it. So yeah, so within the College of Business, especially me as a marketing major, they do have a internship spreadsheet. So I basically looked at the internship spreadsheet and I looked at the most like current date and Kids Orchestra was at the top. So I basically, got their contact, their location and everything, emailed the development director, set up the interview afterwards, got the internship. And so basically what they do, they are a nonprofit here in Baton Rouge, and they basically get to teach students about different instruments. They do like one-on-one appointments, and they also get to do various concerts, and they also get to partner with elementary schools to high schools. So they do a lot for the community. And me being the marketing communications intern, I just basically get to highlight their work and getting to be able to share the experience. And it's just really awesome because the kids love, literally, kids ask me all the time, they're like, are we going to be famous? And I'm like, yes, you are. Because again, it's something that I want them to feel very excited about. And it makes my heart happy because when I conclude the internship, I'd be like, oh my God, I have something to look back, like fall back under because it was really like the time of my life. And I just get to, make these kids smile and just have a good time.
What age group are they?
They are, I want to say between like five, the oldest I've seen is like 12, 11. So like that's their like
Okay, so
demographic or like the
elementary
target age group.
school. Okay, so
Hmm.
elementary school.
Yes.
And are you a musical person? Like, did you play an instrument at all?
No, actually, I did not. I did do honor choir in elementary school a decade ago, which I cannot believe. So if vocals count as an instrument, yes.
I
Have
think
I
they
lost that
should.
talent? Absolutely.
Okay, yeah, I was just curious if you gravitated towards this particular organization because of your musicality.
No, I
No.
do not. I just have experience working with nonprofits, so
Yeah.
I just was like, this is my realm, so why not put myself out there?
Yeah, I love that you're pouring into kids. I mean, I more and more I just realize how important it is for people to be mentored, work for organizations with the youth. Like our youth really, they need to be poured into them in a positive way. And so for you to be doing that, like, isn't it so fulfilling? I love kids. I mean, obviously, like I speak to you guys in Generation Z, but I just have always loved kids, even when I was little. I always thought I was going to be a teacher. There's something about the youth, just the innocence and the kind of happiness and joyfulness. Like, what is it about them that you found like really kind of fueled you or just, I don't know, just like filled your soul?
No, that's a really great question. For me, when I look back at my childhood, I look back at all the things that made me happy. And as I get older, I realize that you just gotta enjoy like the little things in life and you just gotta be grateful for everything that has happened, the good, the bad, the ugly, because it molds you into the person that you're becoming. So getting to be able to see these next generation of kids, showcasing their talent and showcasing that artistry and being able to express that, I believe like that is the most fulfilling work because again, as they get older, who knows? Like some of them are going to become artists, some of them maybe even become like record producers.
Mhm.
There's just so much talent that you just want kids to be able to really tap into that and tap into their creativity, but also having them like think outside the box because oftentimes it becomes so limited. But once they realize their full potential, nothing can stop them.
Yeah, and sometimes it does take someone from the outside to believe in them, like maybe not necessarily their parents or just close friends and family. Sometimes it takes like a stranger that comes in and then sees some potential in them and tells them. And sometimes that's all they need to kind of click and be like, I'm so worthy, deserving, someone believes in me. And again, I don't think people realize how powerful that is if you can be that one person. And I am finding that I'm getting to be that to some of you as well. Like I get to be someone that believes in what you guys are doing and what you have to say. And sometimes that's all it takes. I think we complicate things sometimes. And it's like you said, it's the simple things. And sometimes it's as simple as just saying, I believe in you. Like you have talent, you have something, you are special, all of those things. We need more of that. And I know that these kids are so lucky and blessed to have you a part of their lives. So,
Yes, it's fulfilling work. And like you said, you just have to invest in the people that you surround yourself with because that's ultimately how they're going to become like better people, as well as it makes the team very productive. It even makes the environment like very productive and it gets things done much quicker. So as long as you are continuing to invest in the person and continuing to be able to, be that source of that light, I think that's really going to help them, become so better than they were before, and every day they become better. It's so important. It's just like every day you become 1% better. So getting to be able to do that is just very fulfilling, and I'm just so grateful for it.
I love it. Your microphone's going out a little bit, just to let you know.
Is it? My bad, y'all.
Now you sound
Sorry.
like a robot.
This is the most like authentic episode that you are going to see because again, our lives are not perfect. So this is the form of artistry, is that art is the beauty of mistakes. This is what we get to do.
Yes. So I want to, so as we're talking about like our youth and how we can pour into them. Again, I like to try to give guys a platform so that you can also tell other people like, hey, this is how we want you to show up for us, or this is how we would love for you to help us. So at your age, college student, like what could adults be doing now? Like if they meet you on the street, like interacting with you, like how would you want an adult to show up for someone like yourself?
That is a good question. Oh my God. That is a good question that I did not
Yeah, and I
prepare
just it
for.
came up. Yeah, you remember I
Like,
don't come
geez,
prepared. Just
that
like
is a
you said,
lot.
I and I've thought about that myself. Like when I navigate the world and I meet a stranger, like I do have kind of an idea of like how I would want that stranger to react to me, or how I would want them to create like a space for me to just be myself. So that's why I'm curious for you. Like if you met a stranger on the street, an adult, like how would you want them to be in that moment for you?
Yeah, I will say it's just all about starting that conversation and just getting like to introduce yourself and just getting to be able to just share about like what you're passionate about and then continue the conversation from there. For me, small talk is very important. So if I see a stranger, I immediately like pay them a compliment and be like, "Hey, I love your smile," or "Hey, I love your sunglasses." Something that they can be able to be like, "Oh my God, thank you," and then like continue the conversation like, "Where'd you get it from?" And then go dive deep into that, and then like just getting to introduce yourself, and then see where the conversation goes. So that stranger and need to make their day. I think they'll really need to remember you being like, "My God, like that's that person that could compliment me, my outfit that." I want to continue to build a relationship with them. So it's just all about, putting yourself out there and just seeing where the conversation goes.
Okay, so what I'm getting from that is that you would want someone to be able to receive what you are giving in that moment to that adult. And
Yes,
I think
yes,
that's
it's
really
two ways.
important that a lot of times you'll get shut down because they're like, I don't want to talk to this person. Then they gave me a compliment. It's like, no, be more open to not only receiving a compliment, but be open to what can go from that, like small talk, like you said, that who's to say where it takes you. So if you do have time to actually interact with someone, like I think that's a big
Yes,
lesson, is there are so many opportunities for people to be able to interact. But I think what happens, and this is I find this all the time, is I'll look around and even adults, they're just as guilty as the youth. They're on their phones. And I sometimes will purposely not have my phone when everybody else is on their phone. And I will just kind of stare and I'll see if I can catch somebody's eye. And if I can catch somebody's eye, then I might kind of say something, not comment on the fact that they're on their phone, but actually try to engage with them in that moment. I'd be like, okay, here's a moment. They looked up. Let me see if I can get in there and start a
yes.
conversation. And a lot of times you'd be surprised how many people are open to it. They were just kind of waiting for someone to talk to them because they didn't feel comfortable initiating it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, again, it's just all about how you approach yourself and also getting to be able to see where the conversation goes. Because I can tell you, attention spans are just short as a mouse. Like they just run very quickly. So if you could find a way to be able to start those icebreakers about what's something that you wish you would have learned like growing up, or like what is something that you are striving for? What is something that you're currently working on that you're really excited about? Just those questions that will get people to open up and continue the conversation from there, I think that'll be like really cool.
I asked this question to someone the other day, and I'm curious what your answer is. So, obviously, you guys are on social media, so you also get to see how we experienced life before social media. Like, for instance, just the simple things of, having to use the payphone to call our parents, like after we went to a movie so they could pick us up, and, like Domino's Pizza calling them up and they had to use the yellow pages to like find it,
Yeah.
a map to find your home and everything like that. So I'm curious, is there anything that you've seen or heard that from our generation, or like what we got to experience, that you wish your generation had access to, that like that kind of experience, if
Yeah,
you
no,
will?
that makes sense. I experienced the payphone book. I remember like they would have like everybody's single phone number in that yellow book. Like I
Yeah.
so remember that vividly. Honestly, I will say this, the 90s decade of the 90s decade, I would love to experience that because it was just full of like great fashion, great music, and was just like it was so like beautiful because you got to be able to like be in those moments, and that's where like a lot of great TV shows were happening and a lot of great art stemmed from. And even for myself, I throw back to 90s music and getting to be able to like watch like those previous decades of TV shows and movies that literally have a huge like culture shift to today's generation. So every decade leading up to this like current generation all stems from the culture and how everything shifts, and to where art is so beautiful and there are multitude of ways to express that art and express that creativity. So as long as you are, taking inspiration from the previous decades and previous generations before you and making it your own, I think that's what really makes art so timeless and make that work so timeless as well.
When you said 90s, it is interesting how so many in your generation are obsessed with the 90s and I'm obsessed with the 80s. Really interesting that the 90s is something that really resonates with all of you. So like for instance, when you said 90s music, like what particularly in the 90s? Because there's grunge and then there's hip hop. There's like totally different genres in the 90s. So what genre resonates with you the most?
Definitely pop and R&B music because those are my two favorite genres that I love listening to, especially in the 90s.
What
Always
were
be
the
my big.
bands? Yeah, what were the 90s R&B and pop? Now I'm trying to think. Refresh
Yeah,
my memory.
yeah, no, for sure. No, Mariah Carey, love
Okay.
her. Yeah, I also love Brandy and Monica. They're actually going on tour, so I'm very excited for that.
I Brandy totally reminds me of my days at UCLA. Like I still have her music on my iPhone because like it's very nostalgic for me. Okay, so Monica and Brandy, that's hilarious. Keep
Yeah,
going.
Yeah, Backstreet Boys, they were also like a really great one from the 90s. Oh my God, who else? And I mean, those are just like the four that I just think of because like they're all so iconic, and like that's what really stems from. And just getting to be able to hear about their experiences and just hearing about that love and that romance. Like I am such
Are
a
you
lover's
a
boy.
romantic?
I am such a lover's boy at heart. Like, I swear, if I were to go back to the 90s and live that love and that romance and just being in that moment with that partner,
But I'm
fulfilling.
curious, like, why the 90s? Like, why, like, how is the 90s stand out, like, when it comes to, like, a love story? I'm curious.
Yeah,
Like,
so
what movies or shows? Like, yeah, like, please.
my
Educate me.
goodness. Yeah, for sure. So I love watching The Nanny and Sister Sister and One on One and just like some of those like timeless like TV shows that are just so resonated with our generation. So getting to be able to see how people that who influence us, like getting to see like how they grow and how they age very well and they still resonate with us, is just so beautiful because again, like I get to, quote those people because they literally are just so timeless and they are just so precious that you just gotta hold on to those people and really understand like we would not be here if it wasn't for those people that who have, given us that platform and also getting to be able to share their work. And we can't forget about that. We just can't forget about how they influence our culture and what it is that we can do currently.
Okay. So the whole question where people like, if you could invite three people for dinner, dead or alive, like who would you invite? I want to know who those
Oh.
three people are because you clearly have like an idea of like who your idols are and people that you admire. I want to know, like, do you have three people that you would automatically be like, okay, these three?
Yeah, obviously Queen Bee is
I
one
was gonna say
because
I was gonna go out on a limb and be like, okay, can I at least know that Beyonce is number one?
she's one. Yes, you could say that. Yes, she is number
Okay.
one
See, I've gotten
because
to know you.
yeah, so because she's number one, because
Yeah.
obviously I'm still learning from her about how she moves and how she does everything, leads with intentions. Like, if I could tap into that,
Okay, so we've got Queen
I'd be so
Bee.
here. I would also love, ooh, I gotta go back to Disney. Ashley Tisdale will be number two because Ashley
Really?
Tisdale, she literally was like Disney iconic. So I have to do my queen justice. So
Hey,
Ashley Tisdale for
wow,
Disney.
interesting. All right.
And my goodness, who would it be? Definitely Ralph Lauren, because Ralph Lauren, his work is so timeless, and the way that he presents his fashion and art and his creativity into that, it really tells a story. And literally, like when I wear my Ralph Lauren navy blue polo jacket that I got for my birthday, literally, I just get to tap into that and just getting to realize how fashion is so timeless and the art is so timeless because outfits tell a story and it
Hmm.
tells an inspiration behind that. So I would love to learn from his story and how his fashion influenced like each generation and to getting to tap into our generation as well.
That is so cool. I just learned so much about you. Obviously, I knew the Queen Bee, but with
Yeah.
Ashley Tisdale and Ralph Lauren, okay, see, again, people listening, like if you are an adult and you want to strike a conversation up, like this is a great question, I think, because you do learn so much about the other person in such a short amount of time, because it is
Yeah.
very telling when they tell you who they want to have at their dinner table. So I love that. I might have to start asking that more. Because yeah, I just learned a lot from you in this like
Yeah,
in the
thank
few
you.
seconds. That's so cool. So there's like so much I want to go into, but I also feel like I need to save some of it for
Oh,
the
I know. I'm such an open book that I always tell people like you can ask me anything. Like I promise you, you'll get the most authentic answer as possible. So I completely understand.
Yeah, no, I definitely like, and that's something that I'm trying to figure out too, because I'm trying to come up with like questions already in advance, also, so that like for those when I meet like Gen Z strangers on the street or just when I'm like at a restaurant or whatever, like I at least have something kind of like I can go to right away. I do have a question that I'm asking all of you, and I'm not going to tell you. Obviously, you'll find out when we get, but there is going to be
Okay.
one particular question because I wanted one that I could ask everyone because I'm going to try to ask different questions because I do want to get different perspectives and opinions.
Yeah.
Um, but like as a Gen Zer, as
Okay.
these are your peers, what would you want to hear from some of these Gen Zers? Like, what is there a particular topic or subject or anything that you're like, I wonder what they're thinking about this particular issue or situation or just experience? Like, I'm wondering, do you have something?
When you said that question, I literally was like, "Can we talk about Love Island?" No, I'm just kidding. Yeah.
We can talk about Love Island.
Yeah, because I'm telling y'all, bro. So I told people that I don't watch Love Island. Secretly, I do. And I will say this, it's gonna be very controversial. I don't
Okay.
like how it needs to go.
Okay.
So
It's a
yeah, she
lot of
doesn't bring
drama. It's a lot of drama, and I
yeah,
feel like
but
drama is not needed.
Nicolandria,
Okay, and so this is something that actually I did want to address in the film. And so I love that you brought up Love Island because I am not a fan of like those type of reality shows, especially Love Island. I think just because of how it's like kind of sexualizing people in a way that's like almost like it's no big deal to kiss seven people in 5 minutes. Like that should be no big deal. And I feel like there's things should be more sacred than I feel like they're
oh
portraying
no,
it.
absolutely.
So for me, like I'm curious because I'm like I'm gonna start watching it because all the girls in my Pilates studio, all the instructors, they all watch it, and then my own kids, like my daughter watches it, and here I'm trying to showcase Gen Z. So I thought, okay, kind of like research, right? So I started
Yeah.
watching it. Of course, I got hooked, but I think that's the biggest thing, Joshua, is like, is it actually affecting the way that you see dating and you see like intimacy, or you see how people should kind of be physical with one another. Like, I'm curious if it does actually make a difference when your age group is watching it, or if you're like, okay, this is definitely just for TV. This is kind of like over the top. I'm curious.
It's TV, it's for entertainment purposes. And ultimately, I think that it really doesn't define what it is that I want to pursue. Like for me, like obviously, I do want to have a partner. I prefer quality over quantity because ultimately, like, I want to be able to make a connection with somebody that I want to invest in my time with, gain to grow with, because ultimately, like being in a relationship, it requires a lot of consistency and a lot of communication and building that trust. And obviously, I believe in that your relationship should be definitely private until you are ready. When that time comes, when you are ready to open up to people, being like, hey, like I'm in a relationship and I'm happy with it. You don't always have to necessarily go into details about what goes on in a relationship. Like it is okay to keep things to yourself. And as long as you're happy with where it is that you currently are, and same thing with your partner, I mean, the story and the inspiration will definitely tell when you guys hit like those life moments and those like big milestones like in that relationship and within that timeline.
Okay. Yeah, because I think as a parent, as someone, that has kids that are that age, like the fact that there's a Nick who's 24 and I have a Nick who's 24 and my daughter's 21. So it's hard not to, as a parent, kind of compare like what they're doing to where, like, if my own kids were doing, like, I would be mortified. So that's why I just asked, because I am always just wondering how impressionable it is on those viewers watching. And that is something that I kind of want to address, because I feel like that is something that is really relevant right now, is the dating and how to have like actual connections and meet people offline, not necessarily on a dating app, or just organically like out and about doing different activities. And I think it's really important to address that with your generation for sure. So that's why.
Yes. So, at a football game, I kid you not, like there are people that who literally found their significant other through at Tiger Stadium. So whenever they attend like a football game, like they really get so hooked into it because you get to share that passion and that love that other people are doing. So I think that's what it's all about. As long as you and your partner have the same passions, have the same interests, and the energy is high, you can definitely build a relationship from there. I mean, I even have some that who literally meet from the classroom or getting to be able to, meet at a restaurant or just something that is so valuable that you just look back on and be like, man, like I'm so grateful for this experience. It really just makes sure that you just like put the phone down and just being able to get to spend that quality time with that person that who knows, it could be ended up being your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your wife or your husband. So it's just those things that makes life worth living for. And it just makes me get really excited about me entering to the dating scene on my own terms and just getting to be able to get really excited for it. So yeah, so like I just get to learn from other people and their experience and it just makes me really feel hopeful that when my time comes, like I get to find my significant other. Lead with a purpose. As long as you know what your goals are and what your values are, don't change for the other person. That person will find you. And if they are willing to share that same goals and those values, then there is nothing to worry about.
Yeah, I think we just have to like keep talking about it more and more, like more people to be, because if we all are thinking the same thing, then there shouldn't be any kind of like pressure to be something that you're not. If we're all
Yeah,
agreeing,
definitely.
like be yourself and, follow your heart. And if you have certain values, stick with them. Don't worry about what everybody else is going to think. Yeah, so I think that's actually a great way to round out the podcast, because like I said, I don't want to give away too much of Joshua. I want people wanting more and watching the
Yeah.
documentary to get more info from about you. But I do love that you came back on.
Despite the
Yeah.
audio, but hey, we're being authentic. I mean, this is what
Yes.
this podcast is all about. It's being authentic. So,
Listen, I'm okay with that. It's funny. I had someone who was on my podcast, and I think she had like listened to some episodes before, and she made a comment where she's like, "What I got from your, like, the way you do your podcast is it's very unpolished, very just kind of in the moment. And some people could take that offensively and be like, what do you mean it's not polished? I'm like, no, that's great. I'm not trying to be like in a studio with a microphone and trying to be very formal about it. Like, I want it to be like we're just having a conversation and people are just kind of getting to be like a fly on the wall, because I feel like you and I would have this conversation even if we were not recording right now.
Definitely.
And I think
But come
that's what I'm
August.
trying to have in this podcast of like, no, you're just listening to a conversation that's being had, people.
Yeah, exactly. And stay tuned for August because you'll get to hear more of the insight and more
Yeah.
of me. So stay tuned for August. Did I say August? I said August.
You said August because it is August. But I am so excited to finally get to meet you. It's like mind blowing to me. I'm like, documentary. It's
I know it's happening.
happening.
It
It's
is
happening.
literally happening. Well, thank
Yes.
you so much for having me. And again, y'all will catch me on the next episode whenever that comes out.
Yes.
But thank you once again for having me, and I so appreciate it.
Thanks, Joshua.
No problem.
If you enjoyed this episode and you're between the ages of 18 and 24 and would like to be a featured guest, go to rock.vision.